Hey, now I know I usually talk about books, but today I want to talk about a different kind of storytelling, graphic novels. That's right, comics are not just for kids. They can also be incredible works of art and literature. Join me as we count down 5 of the greatest graphic novels of all time. Now, if you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, my channel is all about reading, writing and creative endeavours. Stick around and you might just add something incredible to your reading list. But I should warn you, things are about to get graphic. Let's begin. First up, we've got Preacher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, and we are coming out of the gate hot. This could easily be in with a shout for my all-time favourite. Preacher is a wild and blasphemous, thought-provoking ride through the dark underbelly of America. The story follows Jesse Custer, a small-town preacher who becomes possessed with a supernatural entity called Genesis. This half-angel, half-demon fusion gives Jesse the power of the Word, the ability to command any human to do whatever he says. Joined by his gun-toting ex-girlfriend Tulip and an Irish vampire called Cassidy, he sets out to find God. And I mean quite literally to find him. Along the way they encounter a host of bizarre and twisted characters, including a secret organisation called the Grail and an indestructible cowboy called the Saint of Killers. Preacher is a fantastic example of how graphic novels can explore very mature themes whilst maintaining the ability to be wildly entertaining. Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon are part of the British invasion of comics that saw some incredible talent coming out of the UK to turn the comics industry on its head. In fact, Steve Dillon comes from my hometown of Luton, England. In fact, most, if not all, the books we're going to discuss today come from outputs of the British invasion. What can I say? We just do it well. In this book, Ennis's razor-sharp wit and Steve Dillon's visceral artwork come together to make a powerful combination. Just be warned, this one is not for the faint of heart or the easily offended, but if you can handle a bit of divine debauchery, then Preacher is absolutely must read. And just look at that cover art by Glenn Fabry. Absolutely incredible. Next up, we have Transmetropolitan by Warren Ennis and Derek Robertson. In this cyberpunk masterpiece, the future is dirty, chaotic and absolutely bonkers. Just how we like it. Transmetropolitan tells the story of Spider Jerusalem, a gonzo journalist who is equal parts Hunter S. Thompson and cyberpunk anti-hero. Forced out of retirement, Spider returns to the city, a sprawling metropolis that's as vibrant as it is corrupt. He's armed with his trusty bow disruptor gun because sometimes words just aren't enough, and he's joined by his chain-smoking two-headed cat. Spider takes on the powerful and the depraved in his quest for truth and justice. Ellis and Robertson have created a world that's as hilarious as it is horrifying. The city itself is a character. It's brimming with outrageous technology, colourful inhabitants and biting social commentary. I love this book. The art is fantastic, it's dense and it's detailed. It does a really good job of capturing the insanity of the characters within. Next up, we have the absolutely legendary Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Forget everything you know about superheroes. Alan Moore is about to show you the darker side of spandex. If you're not already into comics, then there's probably going to be some titles we're talking about here that you've never heard of. But you'd have to live under a rock to have never heard of The Watchmen. Time magazine put it in their 100 greatest novels of all time. That's not graphic novels, that's novels full stop. The only graphic novel to make that list. And it's an accolade that it absolutely deserves. The Watchmen is set in an alternate 1985 where the US and Soviet Union are on the brink of nuclear war. Watchmen tells the story of a group of masked vigilantes investigating the murder of one of their own. As the plot thickens, the heroes, or anti-heroes depending on your perspective, must confront their own pasts, motivations and moral dilemmas. Watchmen is very well regarded as one of the best examples of the medium, and for really good reason. Moore and Gibbons deconstruct the superhero genre by exploring the flawed humanity of the characters within. It's something that's been done lots since, but the Watchmen paved the way. There is no black and white here, just shades of grey and a lot of bloodstains. Not only is the story masterfully created, but the art is packed full of symbolism and the panel structure is completely innovative. With a genuinely incredible cast of characters and Alan Moore refusing to pull any punches as he asks the question, Who watches The Watchmen? Next up, we have The Sandman by Neil Gaiman and various artists. This is not your typical bedtime story, unless your dreams are filled with myth, magic, and morbidly fascinating stories. Now, I've mentioned Neil Gaiman many times on this channel. He is one of my favourite authors, and his work holds up in many forms. One it excels in is comics. The Sandman follows Morpheus, also known as Dream, one of the 7 Endless, powerful godlike beings who represent different aspects of existence. The story tells us of how Morpheus was captured and held prisoner for 70 years. He then escapes and attempts to seek his revenge before rebuilding his kingdom. Throughout the series, we're taken on a journey through time, space, and the realms of human imagination as Morpheus interacts with gods, mortals, and everything in between. Here, Gaiman weaves a rich tapestry of stories that blend mythology, history, and literary allusions into a captivating masterpiece. The artwork, contributed by a rotating cast of illustrators, is consistently stunning and evocative. It's a hauntingly beautiful exploration of the power of stories and the nature of existence. I just love Neil Gaiman's way with words. He's never afraid to tell stories of elaborate fantasy with themes of the macabre and supernatural. Themes that to other people might fall flat, but he always sticks the landing. He does it with a completely unique creative style, and his poetic prose is always engaging to read. The cast of characters are sultry, gothic, and introspective, whilst managing to be enigmatic and engaging at the same time. Morpheus himself is the most complex and the main reason you keep coming back to this book. So the next time you're drifting off to sleep, be sure to pay your respects to the Lord of Dreams. You never know when you'll find yourself in his realm. That brings us to the last, and absolutely not the least. We have The Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Boland. Who knew clowns could be so terrifying? Oh, well, everyone did. So that is Alan Moore's second book on this list, and for good reason, so hold back your criticism. The man is a creative machine, continually putting out game-changing works. The Killing Joke delves into the twisted psyche of Batman's greatest nemesis, the Joker. Through a series of chilling flashbacks, we learn about the tragic events that turned a struggling comedian into the clown prince of crime. Meanwhile, in the present day, the Joker has kidnapped Commissioner Gordon in an attempt to show that it takes just one bad day to push someone over the edge into insanity. Alan Moore's gripping story is matched only by Brian Boland's incredible artwork. Boland perfectly captures the grim atmosphere of Gotham City and the twisted expressions of its deranged inhabitants. The Killing Joke is not only a masterpiece in character study, but it's also a really good philosophical look at good, evil, and the thin line that stands between them. The writing is absolutely incredible, and it goes to places you would never expect in a comic book. The art is incredible. It's got this really modern, clean aesthetic. Lots of these images of the Joker are the most iconic images ever created of one of comics' most famous characters. The photo snap that's used on the front cover and the maniacal laughing frame have been referenced countless times in modern TV and film. The Killing Joke is pretty messed up. If you think that comics are for kids, then read this and it will change your mind. But just don't give it to a kid before you do. So there you go, 5 graphic novels that show that comics can be just as amazing as traditional literature. If there's any of these that you haven't checked out before, then you absolutely have to. As always, thank you so much for sticking with me. If you've enjoyed this video, then a like would be appreciated, and a sub to the channel would be completely amazing. I'd love to see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Goodbye.